Hey there everybody, it's Mark Curley. I'm back with another How to Draw video. Today I'm doing the first of a new series on drawing facial expressions and showing how to intensify them from a kind of mild version of the facial expression up to an extreme one. Today we're going to begin by focusing on anger. Those of you who have anger management issues, maybe you'll enjoy this one. Let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and zero in on this first face. All right, so everyone knows that an angry expression involves these sort of diagonally sloping eyebrows. I just call them angry eyebrows, frankly. And in this first version, I am going to be showing a look of very mild anger. I would say almost is not going to read as true anger. Some people might say, oh, he just looks a little miffed, you know, or slightly bothered. Might be as far as this one goes. And that involves making these the diagonal slope of these eyebrows not very sharp at all. As we move over to these other faces, you're going to see that angle increase considerably. But actually, I think one of the biggest ways of showing mild anger is in the eyes themselves. And that means having the eyes not wide open. And maybe not half closed. You don't want them to look sleepy. But you'll see what I'm talking about in a moment. I'm drawing the shape of one of the eyes here. And when it comes time to draw the iris, I'm having it well up under the upper eyelid line, which could be viewed as like sleepiness, especially as we add this fold of the upper eyelid. But in this case, I think it just has a look of calm when the iris is tucked up underneath that upper eyelid. And indeed, when you add the pupil, as I've done just now, that really sort of drives home the sense of this iris being tucked underneath the upper eyelash. I thought it might be good to try to do all of this facial expression part of the video real time, especially since everything related to the hair and so forth was already done before I even began the video. A bit of a cheat, I'll admit, but I wanted to really zero in on the facial expression aspect with this and not have to rush through all that other stuff in time-lapse as I so often do. So I'm really basically just doing my best to repeat this eye here again with the iris and the pupil tucked up underneath the upper eyelash line. Now when it comes to the nose, I feel that it very rarely plays a significant role in facial expressions. I suppose we may, when we get to the really angry, the super angry version, we may do a bit of a flared nostril. But the mouth is really the next important part. And for this look of mild anger, I'm really just going to stick with a tried and true simple line here, maybe curved down just a bit at the edges. And I don't know, maybe I'll do it just a slight indication of a lower lip here. But that's basically it for this slightly angry, mildly angry expression. And I think it's going to be fun as we move on and start to try to really dial it up and make him look increasingly perturbed. So let's go on to this one, and I'm going to do as I did before, start with the eyebrows, but you're going to see me intensify that angle as they head down toward the center, the sort of the bridge of the nose, I guess you'd call it. And one thing that you can do to intensify the look of anger is indeed to add these little curves at the lower part of each eyebrow as it reaches that bridge of the nose. These little hooks here, I think, play a role in sort of suggesting that the flesh is folding in and growing more. In some cases, it can be concerned or determined. In this case, we really are going for anger. And as I have the eyes kind of half closed over here, I'm moving away from that now with this mid-range anger, I guess we'd call this one. And watch as I get the basic shape of the eye in place. I'm going to take that iris and move it down. Now it's still touching, sort of lightly touching the upper eyelash line, but I think you can see already that the look of anger has grown substantially. And when you add the pupil, and it doesn't go anywhere near that upper eyelash line, then we have you know, just this look of greater alertness in combination with the direction of those eyebrows, I think, adds to this feeling of anger. Now I'm sort of holding back towards going for explosive rage. I'm going to save that for the third and final version of our character, but let's go ahead and stick to my pledge of doing this part in real time. Poor old man time-lapse, he's not getting his workout today. You fool, you're going to regret this. Only my videos that have lots of old man time-lapse are the popular ones. So there you go. You can see by having brought these irises down away from the upper eyelash line that we end up with a considerably angrier looking expression. I'm just going to quickly shade in the irises, which of course makes me realize that I didn't do it over here. Come on, Krill Dog. Focus, man. Focus. So just go ahead and finish that off. But as I said, I don't see the nose as playing a huge role in this. Sorry, nose. My apologies. This might be the first video where I apologized to the nose. Please accept my humble apologies. But now we are going to draw the mouth slightly differently. I'm going to go for a kind of gridded tooth sort of mouth. And to me, that means a sort of rectangular shape that curves, the upper lip line curves down, sort of dips just a little, and the lower lip line also sort of curves in the opposite direction, the way I like to draw one of these sort of gridded teeth. But you can see that that alone, adding the shape of the mouth, really adds to the anger, doesn't it? And I'll go ahead and draw sort of a suggestion of the line separating the teeth. I'm not going to start drawing the individual teeth. I rarely see manga artists do that. Now, I happen to choose a manga style for this video, but hopefully these principles can be applied to a wide variety of styles. No matter what style you work in, if you apply these principles of the eyebrows in combination with the location of the iris in the eye, I think you're going to get good results. And that basically does it for this one. Let's move over to the third and final one and see how do we get to a extreme look of anger. Okay, so now we're really going to pull out all the stops and get the angle of these eyebrows coming down in quite an intense way. I don't know if the angle itself is so much sharper, but it should be noticeably at more of a slope than in my initial eyebrows. But the big thing that's going to be different here is I am going to add this real extra line to that inner corner of the eyebrow. And over here, maybe do the same thing, maybe just leave it to just a hook here. But compared to what I did over here, just a slight hook, here I'm actually having it kind of come around and form a, like the flesh is really bulging out from the forehead. And now I actually, with these the rough guidelines that I put down, I sort of widened this one out so as to make the eyes open even larger, to add to the look of extreme rage. And what I'm going to do is to actually sort of play around with reality, as we can do in the manga style, and that is to shrink the size of the iris itself. Of course, your pupil may contract and so forth, but the iris itself is going to stay exactly the same size for the duration of your life. But not in manga land, where we can play around with those things to add even further to this idea of being on high alert. I think the more that you see the whites of the eyes, and especially when you get to the point where the whites of the eyes are surrounding the iris in its entirety, then you really get to a look of extreme, like I said, sort of high alert. And combine that with these eyebrows, and you've got a serious look of rage here. In fact, I don't even have that much space to add shading. But there you go. I think you're getting quite a different. Now, sometimes I'll see people add a third line here. Let's just for fun, let's see what happens when we do that. And this really drives home, or a couple of lines across the bridge of the nose. You know, this is where you're really starting to really drive home the very height of rage. And now I did say that we might play around with this idea of a flared nostril. Let's give it a try and see if it adds to the final effect. You don't want your character to look pig-nosed, of course, but no offense to pigs. I'm apologizing to noses and pigs and old man time-lapse today, but I'm going to go ahead and flare this nostril a little more than I might normally do. Maybe even do a suggestion of the edge of the nostril, which I hardly ever do when drawing in this style. See what you think. You know, your mileage may vary. But what I want to do is have the mouth wide open now. Enough with the gritted teeth, enough with the subtle frown. This guy is enraged, and that means the mouth is open wide. Now, I will confess that if you looked carefully at these different head shapes that I had in place, that this one is slightly longer to allow for the space, sort of anticipating the need for a little extra space for the jaw dropping as this mouth opens wide. So that's something to pay attention to if you are trying to follow along. Note that this face shape has been altered and enlarged or sort of lengthened top to bottom just a little bit. Now the mouth is open so wide that we are going to actually see the lower teeth, and I've seen a lot of artists do this where it almost looks like a horseshoe or something. It just sort of hooks around, and then you get down here to where I guess the tongue would be. I'm going to go ahead and darken in this whole area and then shade the tongue a little more gently. And there you go. Rage, man. Rage against the machine. Rage against the Krilly. Maybe go ahead and drop in this lower lip line. And there you go. I think we've got a pretty good illustration of how you can intensify a look of anger. Now what I'm going to do is grab my trusty black Prismacolor, if I can find it. It's around here somewhere. And darken these things in a bit. Sort of add a few final touches as I started to do there with like shading underneath the chin and so forth. And we'll be back with a few final words. All right, well, there we have all three of the different faces. You can see the progression as the character gets more and more enraged. But of course, this video cannot be finished until I add the blushies. And, you know, even though I said that this was a video about intensifying facial expressions, it is also a video about intensifying the blushies. Because as he gets more and more angry, the blushies get angry with him. That's right, folks. 2 videos for the price of 1. Intensifying the angry blushies as you go. But give me just a moment to grab my books so that I can thank anyone who has supported me by getting them, like Mastering Manga 1 and 2. And there is 3. It's around here somewhere. If I could just find it. Chibi, my How to Draw book that's devoted 100% to the Chibi style. And my very latest book, The 2-Pencil Method. I really cannot say thank you enough to those of you who choose to support me by getting any of my books. I really, really greatly appreciate it. But let's go ahead and lay down this pencil. I want to thank you all for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. And I'll be back with another one real soon.